Vic, I got two. The first being, have you been apprised by the league to make any contingencies about traveling to the game this week? What have you been told?
I haven't been told anything along those lines. We're just confident here that the league, along with the players' union, is going to handle everything correctly, but nothing has been done or said any way other than plan as normal.
Okay, and then secondly, will Drew Lock practice today, and would, even if he does, is Brett still going to start, or have you made that decision?
Yeah, Drew's going to practice today on a limited basis. We'll see how he does and see if we can build it from there, how he does early in practice. And, based on all that and how he does the next few days, we'll decide.
Okay.
Next one, Artie Stapleton.
Hey, Vic, I got a couple for you. First off, can you fill us in on the status of Noah Fant, and then how did Philip Lindsay look yesterday?
Philip looked fine. I expect him to play this week. Fant did not practice yesterday. He won't practice today. He's still not been ruled out for this game, but it's probably a long shot.
Okay, and then secondly, Mike Purcell signed a nice deal yesterday. I know you've worked with him in the past, and you were excited for him to kind of finally win a starting spot here last year. Can you speak to kind of his perseverance and how that's paid off?
Yeah, Mike is a real good story. The guy's a tremendous worker, dedicated, perseverance, good story of all that. I was with Mike when he first came in the league. He was on our practice squad in San Francisco, got activated for a couple games. Now, then when I left there, he stayed at San Francisco. And while I was in Chicago and San Francisco let him go, I talked the men to getting Mike on our practice squad for a few weeks. We didn't keep him there. And then, his journey. And then last year, prior to camp starting or right at the end of the off season, after that spring league folded, they approached me about him, and I said, yeah, I'd love to have him. Just know that he's going to be a hard guy to cut. I don't know why he's never stuck anywhere, but he's a good football player, and he's tough, strong, great teammate, and really happy for him on a personal level.
Next one, Mike Kliss.
Yeah, Coach, maybe as a teacher more than a coach, this virus everyone's talking about it. How do you get your kids, your students, so to speak, to pay attention in class, in the meetings and all that kind of stuff when all this is going on and there's maybe even some uncertainty about whether you will play?
I think once we addressed it in the team meeting today early, told everybody where it's at. And, this has been going on since we started camp. So when you do get a little uptick in the activity of it, you deal with it. And then I think these guys are good at handling adversity and moving on and focusing on their job. And I don't see it as a big issue that way.
Next, we'll go to Brandon Cristal before opening it up to the entire group. Next one, Brandon.
Coach, how different is it when you're limiting your quarterback compared to some of your other positions? If it's a wide out, a corner, it's easy to just keep him out of a drill. With the quarterback, you want him to get more reps or get some reps, certainly with the first team at times. So how do you balance that as you head into practice now with Drew over the next couple of days?
Well, he'll partake in individual period where there's some good amount of throwing going on there. We'll see how he looks. And then judge it from there. We'll just constantly judge it throughout the practice and see where he's at. Now, we're not going to give him a full workload today, but today being his first day back to practice. So we'll let him do individual, and if that goes well, get him a few reps here and there, and then see how he wakes up tomorrow feeling and go from there.
Next, we'll go to Doug with Nesson before Jim McBride at the Boston Globe. Doug, go ahead, please.
Hi, Vic. Good afternoon. How comfortable do you personally feel going into New England, knowing that they've had 2 or 3 positive cases at this point?
I feel fine. I go to the grocery store too. I just have a lot of confidence in the NFL, the players union. They're doing a good job working together on all these issues. And I'm sure everything will be safe for all involved and totally confident in it.
Thank you.
Next one, Jim McBride, Boston Globe.
Hey, Coach, have any of your players expressed any concern about traveling to New England?
No, they have not. At least not to me anyway.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Eric Dalala.
Vic, KJ Hamler, what's his status for this week? And then any chance Boye comes off IR, or is he going to need another week or so?
Yeah, Hamler won't go this week. And AJ's a long shot to be able to play this week.
Go ahead, Andrew Mason. Andrew Mason, your line's unmuted. We'll skip Andrew, go to Troy Rank.
Yeah, Coach, when you watch what Coach Belichick did against Mahomes, 6 guys in cover, 6 DBs, 7 in coverage, I mean, how do you prepare for that and also dealing with the potential uncertainty at your own quarterback position?
Well, they play that way against everybody. You know, they have most of the time they have 5 DBs out there, 6 or 7, as you mentioned. So there's always an extra DB out there. They ask those defensive backs, some of them to play traditional linebacker positions. They've been doing that the last few years, and they're doing it a lot now. They have 12 defensive backs, I believe, on their active roster. So that's just the way they go, and that's the way they built their team. They're still able to get in looks that traditionally have linebackers in place, but they have safety-type guys doing those jobs. And they do a great job of being versatile on defense.
Guys, time for a few more. Next one, Romy, followed by Andrew. Go ahead, Romy.
Vic, what are the challenges for preparing for several different quarterbacks, especially ones that have very different playing styles?
Well, you know, it's basically the same every week. You know, one thing I do every week with the defense is always let them know who the other team's backup quarterback is, especially if he's a vastly different skill set than the starter. So, I mean, that's something you have to be ready for each and every week. Their offense didn't change a great deal against Kansas City the other night with Cam Newton not playing, you know, other than the Cam Newton generated type runs weren't there. But they still ran their offense, ran it good. And if one of the backups has to play again this week, they're going to be in a better spot than they were last week because they would have had the week of practice and the prep time of knowing that they're playing, whereas last week it kind of happened late.
Final 3, Andrew, Kyle, then Mike. Go ahead, Andrew.
Vic, what do you sense from your players in the locker room as far as those guys keeping each other accountable and making sure that nobody falls afoul of the COVID protocols?
I think they all have confidence in each other. We've done a good job up to this point. But the key thing is the message is we can't get complacent. We have to be on our guard at all times. When we're not in this building and around this team and we're out in public or at home, we have to assume that there's people around us that have COVID and act accordingly, which basically means do your social distancing and wear your mask.
Go ahead, Kyle Newman.
Hey, Vic, you guys have obviously asked a lot of the rookie class this year. You know, what's been kind of your prognosis of them through the first 4 games and specifically individually like Cushenberry, Ojemudia, Bassie? You know, what are you looking to see from them over the last 3 quarters of the season?
Continued growth. You know, that means mentally and physically. Not to make the same mistake twice or 3 times. Don't be a repeater when it comes to mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. And just keep grinding away and pounding away at getting better and becoming proficient at their position in the NFL.
Final one, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, in the last 20 years, one of the more common conversation topics was it Belichick or Brady for the New England Patriots' success? I should have asked you this 2 weeks ago, too, when you played Tampa Bay. But where do you come down on that when that conversation has come up over the years?
Well, Bill's obviously one of the greatest, if not the greatest head coaches of all time. And Tom Brady's obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And they were a great marriage. And when you have a marriage like that of greatness, you're going to achieve greatness, and they both did.